good times on my mind, and a setting sun to remind me I'm going back to a place called Miller Time. If you've got the time.
Time for the best tasting beer you can find.
We've got the beer.
America's quality beer since 1855.
Miller tastes too good to hurry through.
Miller High Life.
When it's time to relax,
It's real nice to have you here. Real nice to
one beer stands clear. If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
Jeez.
So the Rams leading New Orleans 38-24. Benny Ricardo just kicking a 36-yard field goal. Remember, New Orleans was buried at one stage 31-0. Time left 58 seconds in the third quarter, and Ricardo kicking from the 35. Drew Hill deep on the Ram 10. And it's a short kick taken at the 11. And Jack Holmes is right there to make the tackle. Boy, he's an excellent special teams
Yes,
man.
he is.
And let's go now to Brent Musburger in CBS Control in New York.
Thank you very much, Ben Scully. The Philadelphia Eagles were ahead of the Seattle Seahawks, and then Dan Dornick found a hole up the middle. They added the extra point inside of 10 minutes now. 2017. Seattle leads it, but the Eagles are on the move. Now let's go back to you, Vinny.
Well, Vince Ferragamo is back at the wheel, 1st and 10 on the Rams 17-yard line. And Ferragamo giving it to Cullen Bryant, and Don Reese along with Mathis are there to knock him down. And George, a question now. Where does that leave Pat Hayden? He let him play, and one popped up on him, and now he's back on the sideline.
That's really embarrassing to Pat, because he said he was in there for really one series. They got a touchdown, a fumble, then the next series they fumbled a kickoff return. So that's what I said earlier. It's tough to put the starting quarterback, who was your starting quarterback, in a game like this. No matter what he does, it's usually the wrong thing.
From the 17-yard line, Ferragamo under heat, throws it away, and he's got Willie Miller, and now Clarence Chapman has Miller.
Well, then the Saints are playing with a little more spirit. They're fired up. They can sense something possibly happening here.
Well, that's the end of the third quarter with the score, the Rams 38, New Orleans 24. We now pause for a word from your local station.
Monday on Flo, Crooked Farley's running for office, and Flo's about to run him out of the Yellow Room.
Farley's never met a man whose money he didn't like.
Monday on the new season of Flo.
This is CBS.
Willie Miller and Clarence Chapman, two little men battling, and then Barry Bennett came over and made them look like bookends as he wrapped them up to end the play at the quarter. So to the fourth quarter we go. It is 38-24 in favor of Los Angeles, and the Rams trying to regroup and pick up some momentum they might have lost. When they started this, it was 31-7. So it is 3rd and 1 from the Ram 26. Ferragamo lobbing it to Bryant. No reception. He never had control.
And you know why he didn't? Just the word you use, lob. The ball floated in there, so as you try to catch it, you almost bat it away. Ferragamo just floated the ball in there, so you really don't get the feel of the football. That's why Cullen Bryant dropped it. Cullen Bryant's a terrific receiver.
So Frank Corral, who has kicked 4 times, will be punting, and deep is David Waymer, the rookie out of Notre Dame. Corral will be kicking from about the 17-yard line. The Saints cannot get in, and he gets it away. Wayman retreating. And from the 17, Ivory Sully can't get him. But Jeff Delaney does, and drops him at about the 32-yard line. though Jeff Delaney brings him down after Sully was unable to do so. And the Saints, in reasonably good field position, will put it in play at the start of the fourth quarter. Rams.
From Zenith. You'll love it.
I love TV.
The Saints put it in play, 1st and 10 from their own 31. We have 14:43 left in the game. 38-24 in favor of the Rams. Wilson and Rodgers behind Manning. Harris wide left, Chandler wide right. And they dump it off to Wilson, boxed in by Jim Youngblood, so he goes the other way. And Nolan Cromwell brings him down as he crosses the 45-yard line.
Well, the Rams had doubled number 89 Chandler. Chandler runs an in pattern which clears the defense out. Now it's one-on-one with Wayne Wilson. He shows some running ability here, some leg drive and power. He did that on his own. He turned a ordinary play, maybe 4 or 5 yards gain, into a big play.
A 16-yard pickup is Freddie Dreyer working nervously on his shoes on the sideline. 1st and 10 for the Saints. Play action fake to Rodgers, and Manning, no good. Off Pat Thomas's hand, defended for Ike Harris, who was going down the right side.
You know, on this play, here it is, this last play, a real good shot. Watch the Ram defense. Now here comes 89 at the top of your screen coming over. That's Chandler. He's open, and Childs is possibly open. Pat Thomas had position on Ike Harris all the way. No chance to get it in.
We're still waiting for him to go to Chandler, because Chandler, coming into this game, had caught 29 passes. He has had just one chance and then one more. So he's caught a total of 2 passes today, 31 for the year. Manning overthrowing Chandler.
No chance. Chandler's running a down and out. He's pushed a little bit by Perry. Now he's turned it up. He's open if he drills it in. Throws it way too high. I think Chandler then can get open on a go pattern. Straight up the field. Make a little move and turn up the field. And just let him run into the football. I think he can get open on that type of pattern.
Well, it's a 3rd and 10 for Archie Manning, who is 13 for 33 for 171 yards, 2 touchdowns. And it's to Ike Harris, and Harris made the reception, even though Jim Youngblood gave him an awful lick. And down on the field, evidently hurt our 2 Rams, Johnny Johnson and Nolan Cromwell. Cromwell gets up, and Youngblood and Johnson stay down. Now Youngblood gets up, but down for the count is Johnny Johnson.
That last play, here it is again, shows tremendous concentration by Ike Harris, staying with the ball. Big linebacker like Youngblood coming in, trying to jar it loose.
Need your help. Is it me or my 1981 Toyota Corolla? Watch. See what I mean? I know Corolla looks like a million, got plenty of style, not to mention a peppy 1.8-liter engine. But I ask you, is it me or my Toyota Corolla?
Give me a ride to the library?
Tell me, was it me or my Toyota Corolla?
Oh, what a feeling! Your Corolla! Toyota!
Homeward bound, coast of New England.
You got 6'2" feet. 6'2" feet.
The Navy. See a recruiter or call toll-free. It's not just a job, it's an adventure.
See the cheerleaders go from the sidelines to the front lines in the Battle of the NFL Cheerleaders. Next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
A final score, Houston rallied to avert an upset and defeated Denver 20-16. And one other final, Oakland certainly playing solid ball behind Jim Plunkett, defeating Miami 16-10. Johnny Johnson, the rookie from Texas, who took a lick, slowly coming out as Dr. Clarence Shields talks to him. And Johnson evidently momentarily stunned, but we're happy to say okay. Now Dr. Toby Friedman will chat with him. And that was a big reception by Ike Harris, 1st and 10 on the Ram 34. Tony Galbraith is in there now along with Wilson. And they'll try Galbraith. And he's hit from behind by Reggie Dawes.
Well, you know, Ben, Archie Manning's trying to run the ball just enough. Now, that was a draw on 1st down. Pretty good call to keep that defense off of him, so that he doesn't have quite so much pressure in throwing on all 3 downs or possibly all 4 downs.
Now, Jimmy Rogers is back in there. Galbraith back to the sideline. Wes Chandler goes wide left. Ike Harris goes wide right. And Manning telling Wilson to split a little more. Childs is on the right side, the tight end. Jack Youngblood and Larry Brooks leading the sack at the 45-yard line.
Well, I tell you what Jack Youngblood did. Jack Youngblood lined up real wide. Nobody touched him. Just came right in on Manning. Didn't have a chance. When you line up that wide, Ben, the offensive tackle can't reach out and grab you and use the hands. And the way the rules are now, it's very tough to rush the passer because the offensive linemen are allowed to use their hands, grab them. Youngblood lined up where he couldn't get his hands on him.
Jack's 6th sack of the year. He had 16 sacks last year. Third and a long 19. And Manning flipping it. What a juggle and then drop by Henry Child. It looked like Henry was going to make a miraculous reception.
Yeah, that ball was thrown behind him also.
And softly.
Yeah. Here, let's see the line rush. Rams defensive line rushing Manning. Passing situation. Pretty good protection. Now the ball is thrown behind him. Up high. He almost stayed with it and had the juggling act.
Back to live now. Russell Erxleben hanging one down the right side. And it will hit and go OB, and we'll see where they will mark it. The big thing, of course, the Rams were able to stiffen after New Orleans had it 1st and 10 on the Ram 34. So it remains 38-24 Los Angeles.
Newspapers all across America are endorsing Ronald Reagan for president. One reason is the sad reality of Mr. Carter's record. A more important reason is the promise of Ronald Reagan's leadership. As the Columbus Dispatch said, Ronald Reagan is by far the best choice to do the job that needs to be done today. His presidency would return the luster to the American dream. The time is now for Reagan.
I looked at Datsun 280ZX and Porsche 924 because I wanted a refined sports car. Then I looked at and drove this new Mazda RX-7, and that's all it took.
Just one look. That's all it took. Yeah, just one look. That's all it took.
The Mazda RX-7 keeps getting better. Even the mileage is 24% better than last year. And the more I looked, the more I liked the looks of its price.
The more you look, the more you like.
Live, undefeated champion Hilmer Kenty blasts away with Villamar Fernandez for the WBA Lightweight Championship. Next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
Well, Minnesota having all kinds of trouble scoring points of any kind of late. Suddenly erupting for 36 points to lead Washington 36-14.
And they played Dills at quarterback. Kramer was out today.
And Philadelphia took a while, but they're in gear now. And they're leading Seattle 24-20 in Seattle. 1st and 10 for the Rams on the Ram 14. And it'll be Elvis Peacock. Still on his feet and finally brought down at the 30-yard line. So a quick 16 and a first down.
Well, he had good holes, good blocking. They ran to the slot side of the formation. Look at the blocking. 61, Saul. 32, Cullen Bryant.
Tommy Myers just missed bringing him down at the 20. Mathis finally got him from behind. Tom Myers, 9 years from Syracuse. He was a starter in the Pro Bowl last year and made a key interception. Cullen Bryant. Reggie Mathis brings him down as he crosses the 35. Got out to about the 38-yard line.
Ben, from a coaching standpoint, I like what the Rams are doing now. They're ahead. They're grinding it out. They're keeping the clock running. They're not getting fancy. They're coming right at them.
There you see the time remaining in the game, 10 minutes and 51 seconds. The Rams in possession of both the ball and the lead, 38-24. And they have it about a 2nd and 2 at the 37-yard line. Elvis Peacock and Alois Groom brings him down. Well, it's quite a battle. Jackie Slater and Alois Grooms. And Grooms, even with Slater all over him, was still able to make the tackle, and that takes quite a bit of doing.
Yes, it does. Grooms has had a pretty good game today. He's been playing very consistent. And Peacock, we talked earlier about, is running with authority. He's running hard.
So that's a 1st and 10. The ball at the Ram 40. Willie Miller goes wide right. Preston Denard wide left. Cullen Bryant looking for daylight. He ran into the arms of Derlin Moore, who brought him down. Take another look at Alois Grooms.
Number 78, defensive left end. Using his hands on Slater, playing both blockers. Slips in behind and makes the tackle. The initial hit on 32, Cullen Bryant.
So it is 2nd and 6 on the 44. David Waymer really punishing him on the reception, but Miller holding on to the football.
Well, that's what the good running game does. It sets up this play action. Plenty of time to throw. Look at that. He guns it right into Willie Miller.
Ferragamo is now 14 for 24, 234 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
Then we said earlier, I think he's going for that 6th touchdown pass to break the record.
He would get out from under. He's already got company with Waterfield, Van Brocklin, and Gabriel. So he needs one more. 1st and 10. On the Saints 36. Cullen Bryant with Dennis Harrah trying to block on Mathis. Mathis and Waymer make the tackle at the 25-yard line as a flag on the play. Cullen Bryant so far today, 15 carries for 70 yards. Peacock is carried for 89 yards. Watch Barry Bennett, number 63, and see the grab by Jackie Slater. And Slater has him by the numbers, and consequently the penalty.
Illegal use of the hands during the run. Still 1st down.
Well, that's what those new rules really allow for pass protection. You can use your hands, you can extend your arms, and you can keep your whole hand open. You can reach out and grab.
He did that all right. So from the Saints 42 and a 1st down situation for Ferragamo. He needs about 16 on a draw to Cullen Bryant. Bryant gets to the 35. Barry Bennett, number 63, wrapping him up.
You know, Ben, another thing this game has shown with Ferragamo and last week's game as well, he's not known as a scrambler, but he has enough mobility to move around and avoid the rush and make a big play. And his last touchdown pass to Jeff Moore showed that.
Ferragamo with 5 touchdowns today and no interceptions. So that gives him 19 touchdowns and only 8 interceptions. 2 touchdown passes for every interception. That's really something.
That's great.
And he's going to roll. Throwing on the run. And the reception is made and the hit by Chapman. Willie Miller making the catch at the 19-yard line. And that'll be a first down.
Here it is, a sprint out to his right. The defense is left. Now, he can run this if he wants to. He's got 2 blockers. He's got Dennis Hare, Kent Hill in front of him. But he's got the open receiver, and he does the smart thing, get the first down. He's moving around more than I've seen him in quite a while.
A reminder, about 60 minutes. Of course, it will be seen at its usual time on the West Coast. The 1st and 10 on the 19-yard line. Bryant and Peacock behind Ferragamo. And here comes Bryant. Got away from Geraldine Moore. Still on his feet and dropped at the 13-yard line. Moore had him. Mathis had him. Tommy Myers tried to get him. Great bit of running.
Then what this does, this type of a drive, breaks down any hopes the Saints had of pulling it out. When you can gut it out on the ground, allow your offensive linemen to do what they do best, block and run, that takes it out of the defense.
You know, the Rams started on their own 14-yard line. And they have moved it now to the 12-yard line of a beleaguered Dick Nolan and the New Orleans Saints. By the way, Elvis Peacock now has rushed for 89 yards. Cullen Bryant for 88. And it'll be Peacock. And they stack him at the 5-yard line with Reese and Myers in on the tackle. So that's 14 carries. Elvis Peacock putting in quite a day.
The time possession on this drive is going to be interesting because it's now down to 6:19.
Peacock is carried for 96 yards. Of course, Elvis, along with Cullen Bryant, came into this game the 7th and 9th rushers in the NFC. And they're adding to it. 1st and goal from the 5. Flag on the play as he got inside the 5. Kovach making the tackle.
Well, the Rams had 3 backs, a tray backfield, the old-fashioned T in there, and usually the fullback leads you to the play. Oh, against the Saints.
Time left, 5 minutes and 50 seconds. The Rams leading 38-24, and a penalty against New Orleans.
Defense, number 24, in the neutral zone, half the distance to the goal line.
Gee, that's unusual for a defensive back to be lined up offside.
Clarence Chapman.
A defensive back lined up offside. That's very unusual.
1st and goal from the 3. Gooman for the touchdown. That is the first rushing touchdown. Ferragamo had passed for 5.
Well, here it is. Good call. They've been running well. Keep running. Cullen Bryant leading the play, putting a block on Myers. Easy score. Beautiful ball control drive, the type that can stop any momentum the opposition's trying to muster.
That's Gooman's 2nd touchdown of the day. The other one was a 7-yard pass from Ferragamo. Flag on the play, but the kick is good. (44-24) in favor of the Rams. Waiting for further definition of the flag.
Must be against the Saints.
I would think. So we have 5 minutes and 46 seconds left in the ball game. The Rams 45, New Orleans 24.
Successful try.
STP, a big name in racing for nearly 20 years. STP oil treatment on the track in some of the world's most expensive engines. Around the track, around the world, every day, tens of thousands of people get STP oil treatment. Get it for your car. Satisfaction guaranteed. Around the track, around the world, STP oil treatment is #1.
Here's another Radio Shack telephone sensation. And lucky you, it's on sale for only $39.88. Super small size. And the push-button dial has a memory button that automatically redials busy numbers. Of course, it has an extra long 16-foot cord. And watch this. Its hang-up is a put-down. You save even more when you own your own phone. And it's built and sold only by Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
Friends, tonight a CBS News special report anchored by Dan Rather. The report will focus on today's developments in which Iran agreed to the release of the hostages if Khomeini's 4 conditions are met. That's tonight, a special report right here on CBS News. On the last touchdown by the Rams, a penalty against New Orleans. So the Rams will kick off from the 40-yard line instead of the usual 35. And it is 45-24 Los Angeles, 5:46 left in the game. Corral's kick will be fielded by Jimmy Rogers at the 2. To the 15, Joe Harris has him by the waist, and he will finally be brought down at about the 23-yard line.
Joe Harris is in wherever the action is. Here he is covering the kick, gets rid of one blocker, has a nose for the football, makes the first contact, stays with him, has a hold of his ankle there, gets some help.
So the Saints put it in play, 1st and 10 on their own 24-yard line. Ike Harris goes wide right and Wes Chandler left. The running backs are Rogers and Wilson. The tight end, Brooke Williams, was on the right side, and Manning, under pressure, throws it away. Flag on the play. Both Jack Youngblood and Larry Brooks were in there.
Youngblood's coming in from the outside then, beating the tackle, Brock. See if we can see him.
There he is.
There he is. Coming around from behind.
And a holding penalty will be called against New Orleans.
You know, you got to give your tackle a little help.
10 yards.
One man can't block Youngblood consistently.
There's the interesting point that you were making, George. The time of that Ram drive, 6 minutes and 11 seconds to go from their own 14 to pay dirt. 1st and 20 from the 14. 45-24 in favor of the Rams. 5:29 left in the game. Manning, a little screen to Chandler, but Leroy Irvin brings him down. Minnesota added to its lead 3 more points to beat Washington 39-14.
And they could only kick a field goal last week against the Packers. They exploded today. The reason Chandler didn't have a chance in that last play, Vin, is they had him covered long and short, front and back.
Well, under the heading, they also serve who only stand and wait, Bob Lee and Pat Hayden. It has been Ferragamo's day. 2nd and 18 from the 16. And Manning over the middle to Chandler, and they swallow him up as Irvin at the 32-yard line. He has to get to the 34 for the first down, so he didn't quite pick it up. Wes Chandler, one of the outstanding receivers in the NFL. They call him Chant, C-H-A-N-T, out of Florida.
He's the type of guy that can break open any ball game, and I'm glad to see Manning throw to him, because if a receiver like Chandler doesn't have 5 or 6 passes thrown to him, he gets his dauber down.
The problem is it took a long time to get the ball to him.
Exactly.
3rd and 1. Wilson. From here, from this angle, it would appear as if he perhaps made the first down, but they're going to have a look at it. Just depends on where they spot the ball. He had to get just over the 34-yard line. And a tough day for Manning. Archie 16 for 37, passed for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he was well out of the game before he got on the scoreboard, and he's been sacked twice for 20 yards.
Well, again, the first rule of winning, Ben, is don't beat yourself. Do everything you can to prevent your ball club from making mistakes. Go over it in the meetings. Go over it on the practice field. Go over it again and again. And the Saints today beat themselves, and that's what they've been doing this season.
From the opening kickoff, Tony Galbraith squinting up into the sun, muffed the kickoff, recovered by the Rams, and they took it in for a field goal. It has been all Los Angeles. Manning overthrowing Ike Harris. Boy, did he have company. Pat Thomas and Jack Reynolds.
Well, they had 3 men around Ike Harris. Not much of a chance to get it in, and actually Manning did the right thing. He threw the ball high, even though he overthrew him. Watch this. Even though he overthrew him, Ike Harris has that 6'3" height and jumping ability, has a chance to go up and get it. Here it is. Good buzz by Jack Reynolds. They got him front and back.
He's caught 3 today, has Ike Harris, including a touchdown, a total of 45 yards. 2nd and 10 from the 34. And Manning has it caught by Jeff Delaney. And Delaney is going to go out of bounds with a flag on the play. Delaney goes out at the 28-yard line.
Well, Manning overthrew. Here it is. Overthrew his intended receiver. Youngblood is putting pressure on him.
Rams intercept the ball, first down.
He threw it right into Delaney. All Delaney had to do was backpedal and watch the ball, just like an offensive receiver. Manning felt the pressure on that last interception, Ben, from Jack Youngblood, I believe, coming in from the outside. He had to get rid of it or take a sack.
No penalty on it. They'll spot the ball on the 28. The 4th New Orleans turnover. So the Rams leading 45-24. 3:34 left in the game. A downcast Archie Manning on the sidelines, and a very upbeat Vince Ferragamo calling signals for the Rams. Mike Gooman gets to the 25. It took a while for Dick Vermeil's crew to get it in gear, but Philadelphia went on to defeat Seattle 27-20.
And that keeps them a game ahead of the Cowboys. They had to win that.
Looked like Wilbert Montgomery might not have played in that one either.
Yes, that was in Seattle, I believe.
Right. Meanwhile, Bobby Scott listening to Archie Manning. So is Ike Harris as to what went wrong. Almost everything today for the Saints. We have 2:57 left in the game. 2nd and 7 from the 25. And Gerald Thomas is finally knocked out of bounds by Tommy Myers, and there's a flag on that play.
You know what happens, Ben, in a game like this? You put these fresh backs in, and they'll make big yardage on an ordinary play because they're raring to go. They've been cooped up.
Boy, those defensive linemen for New Orleans, they have spent a career out there on the field today.
Yes, and the other thing is what field position the Rams offense has had today. If we had a field position chart, except for a couple of long drives, they've had great field position.
Offense lined up offside, still 2nd down.
So Drew Hill had lined up offside. There are the somewhat beleaguered New Orleans up front guys. Barry Bennett, Eloise Grooms, Derlin Moore. Second and 12 on the 30. And Gerald Thomas is hit and dropped immediately. Jim Kovach able to bring him down.
Well, these type of games only make your entire 45-man stronger. Your squad stronger because you're playing everybody and they're all getting the feel of it, and even if they make a mistake, it doesn't
Let me ask you something.
cost too much.
what does it do to the other team? Is it just about destroy what was ever left of New Orleans?
Well, from here on in, this is their 9th loss in a row. They just have to gut it out. They're going to beat somebody.
Let's see, who could they beat?
Well,
they play San Francisco December 7th.
They can beat the 49ers.
They play the Jets on December 14th.
They can beat the Jets.
Could they beat Minnesota on November 30th?
I think they can beat Minnesota, yes.
Those are the only 3 options I would think they have, because otherwise, realistically, they play Philadelphia, Atlanta, and the Rams in New England.
For 1981, the Toyota Celica Supra gets recharged. Charged with more performance, a new 2.8 fuel-injected engine, an optional performance package, sport suspension, spoilers front and rear. The new 2.8-liter Toyota Celica Supra, recharged. 481.
A Celica never performed like this before. Supra!
You take 1,000 hearts up here with you. Make them skip a beat. Then take them back down to Miller time. Time for the best tasting beer you can find. America's quality beer.
When it's time to relax,
Miller High Life.
one beer stands clear. If you've got time, we've got the beer.
Oh, no, that's...
Well, we're down to the 2-minute warning on a 3rd and 11 for the Rams. The ball on the New Orleans 30-yard line. The Rams leading New Orleans 45-24. Our thanks to Dr. Bob Woods, who had to work his way along through 11 scoring plays today. To our good friend and spotter Dennis Mnuchin. To Ozzie Lang, who's been sending along the scores to us. And we ride out the last 2 minutes. 3rd and 11 from the 30. Gerald Thomas and Mike Gooman. Both release, and Ferragamo gets rid of it, and it's intercepted by Ray Brown. He's to the 25, 35, and short of the 40. Well, Kent Hill finally met him at about the 38-yard line.
Vince
and for Ferragamo,
that's
that
his
was it.
first interception.